The concepts covered are a fraction on the number line, proper fractions, improper and mixed fractions, equivalent fractions, simplest form of a fraction, like fractions, comparing fractions, addition and subtraction of fractions. A fraction is number representing a part of a whole. The whole can be a group of objects or a single object. Numerator and denominator. The upper part of the fraction is called numerator. It tells the number of parts we have. The lower part of the fraction is called denominator. It tells the total parts in a whole. Representation of fraction on number line. We represent whole numbers and integers on the number line. Similarly, we represent fractions on the number line as well. Example, representing 1/4 on a number line. Draw a number line. The denominator is given as 4. So, the unit length between two numbers will be divided into 4 equal parts. 1/4 means 1 part out of 4. So, it is marked on the number line at 1/4 and it lies between 0 and 1. Representing 8/5 on a number line, draw a number line. The denominator is 5. Now, the unit length between two numbers will be divided into 5 equal parts. Now 8/5 is located on the number line between 1 and 2 as follows. Proper fractions. Fractions where numerator is always less than the denominator. It is called proper fraction because the number of parts will always be lesser than the total number of parts. Improper fractions. Fractions where numerator is always more than the denominator. It is called improper fraction because the number of parts will be greater than the total number of parts. Mixed fractions. A combination of a whole number and a proper fraction is called a mixed fraction. It is the combination of a whole and a part. A mixed fraction is in the form of quotient and a remainder divided by divisor. We can convert it in the form of an improper fraction by. Example, converting 2 into 3/4 inches to improper fraction. Equivalent fractions. Equivalent fractions are those fractions which represent the same part of a whole. Equivalence fractions means different fractions representing the same number. Finding equivalent fractions. Method 1, multiplying with the same number. When we multiply the numerator and denominator of any fraction with the same number, then we will get the equivalent fraction. There could be more than one equivalent fractions of one fraction. Example, finding the equivalent fraction of 1/2. Method 2, dividing with the same number. When we divide the numerator and denominator of any fraction with the same number, then we will get the equivalent fraction. Example, finding the equivalent fraction of 18/27 with denominator 9. To get the denominator 9, we need to divide it by 3. To find the equivalent fraction, we need to divide the fraction by 3. The simplest form of a fraction. If the numerator and denominator do not have any other common factor than 1, then it is said to be the simplest or lowest form of that fraction. Examples, 2/3, 5/7, etc. Like fractions and unlike fractions. Like fractions, fractions which have same denominators are known as like fractions. Example. Unlike fractions, fractions which have different denominators are known as unlike fractions. Example. Note, like and unlike fractions are decided only on the basis of denominator. The value of numerator does not matter. Comparing fractions. Comparing like fractions, in this case, the denominators are the same. So, only numerators are compared. The one with bigger numerator is the bigger fraction. Comparing unlike fractions, the fractions with different denominators are unlike fractions. In this case first, we try and make the denominators same. This is done by converting fractions into equivalent fractions by finding LCM of different denominators. Each fraction is converted into a form such that the LCM is the common denominator of both the fractions. The fractions now obtained are like fractions. Comparison of like fractions can be done by comparing the numerators. Example, comparing 6 by 7 and 3 by 5. The product of 7 and 5 is 35. So we will find the equivalent fraction of both the fractions with the denominator 35. Now we can compare them as like fractions. Addition and subtraction of fractions. Adding like fractions. In case of like fractions, the denominator is same so we can add them easily. Steps to add like fractions. Add the numerators. Leave the common denominator same. Write the answer as. Example. Two. Subtracting like fractions. Steps to subtract the like fractions. Subtract the small numerator from the bigger one. Leave the common denominator same. Write the answer as. Example. Three. Adding unlike fraction. If we have to add the unlike fractions, first we have to find the equivalent fraction of the given fractions with the same denominator, then add them. Steps to add unlike fractions. A. Take the LCM of the denominator of the given fractions. B. Find the equivalent fractions of both fractions with LCM as the denominator. C. Add them as the like fractions. Example. Solution. Take the LCM of 5 and 8, which is 40. Four. Subtracting unlike fractions. Steps to subtract unlike fractions. A. Take the LCM of the denominator of the given fractions. B. Find the equivalent fractions of both fractions with LCM as the denominator. C. Subtract them as the like fractions. Example. Find 3 by 4 minus 1 by 5. Solution. LCM of 4 and 5 is 20.